name is Eric Hattenbach,
And how old are you?
91.
Well, make sure he says, I am 91 years old.
Okay. I'm 91 years old.
Okay. What's your birth date?
October the 13th, 1919.
Okay. Make sure he says, and my birth date is.
Okay.
You just,
Okay, so can you say my birth date is?
Okay.
Okay. So what is your birth date?
My birthday is October the 13th, 1919.
Okay. And Eric, where were you born?
I was born in Kassel, Germany, which is the capital of Hesse, where the Hessian soldiers came from during the Revolutionary War.
Okay. Who are your family members?
My wife's name is Annette. My daughter name is Joan. I have two sons, Mark and Larry, and three grandchildren, Meredith, Kimberly, and Michael, and three great-grandchildren, Zoe, Zachary, and Charlie.
Okay. Tell us about what you did in your professional life.
I retired in October 1978. I was employed at the General Electric Company in Evendale for 38 years as an engineering designer, designing jet engine. I was a pioneer in the use of computers for design in place of drawing boards. I was first to do the preliminary design of jet engines on computers.
Okay. So since you retired, what kind of community work have you been involved in?
I'm an active member of B'nai B'rith for over 60 years. I was a treasurer at Alfred M. Cohen Bowling League for 25 years. I'm also active member of Evan Miami Masonic Lodge for over 40 years. I got married by Rabbi Feinberg, and I'm still an active member of Aleph Israel's congregation. I attend daily services on Tuesday mornings at 7 o'clock since my retirement. Our first volunteering assignment was at the Women Golf Tournament and the Kroger Senior Classic at Kings Island. I started volunteering at the Shrine Hospital for Children in 1992, working at the information section and medical record section using computers. I've been a whole observer for the Cedar Village golf outing since it started, and I've been filing in the medical record department every Tuesday since 1997 at Cedar Village.
So tell us what motivates you to give back to the community.
On January 1949, I was drafted in the U.S. Army and sent to Fort Knox for training in the Tank Corps. After finishing basic training, I was sent to the South Pacific because Congress passed the Enemy Alien Act, and since I was not a citizen, I could not be sent overseas. I went to Fort Benjamin Harrison, and it took the Army 2 years to clear me before I was sent to England to be trained for military government. The general who was the head of the Signal Corps wanted some people that spoke German or French, and I was assigned to a motor messenger unit. Our job was to deliver official mail by jeep. In July 1945, the Army moved German prisoners of war to the signal depots, and I was transferred as an interpreter. One of my assignments was to translate for the doctor the sick call in the morning. After the Battle of Bulge, there was a need for infantry replacements, and the doctor I was working with had to give me my physical examination. He stated that my eyesight was not good enough for the infantry, and that it was the second time that saved me from going into action. After 4 years in the Army, I returned to Cincinnati, and I was very fortunate to get a job with General Electric, and I had a very successful career. I got married in January 1949 and blessed with children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. To be fortunate like this, I think volunteering is just a little I can give back in return what the community did for me.
So how many years have you been volunteering now? I was just curious. want to move on to hobbies?
What?
What hobbies do you enjoy?
Oh, working playing on my computer. I played golf until my league disbanded 2 years ago, and I do daily crypto quip and sometimes crossword puzzles in the Inquirer. I'm a member of Dry Health Fitness Center where I work out 3 days a week. I walk, exercise, and work out on 16 weight machines. I enjoy watching all sports, especially the Red Spangles. You see basketball and football.
So tell us, what important values and beliefs would you like to pass on to your family and to your friends?
Being able to help people when necessary.
I'll make sure he repeats the question on that.
Would you repeat the question on that? Would you say, I think it's important to be able to help people when necessary?
Yeah.
Could you say that for him so it's
Okay.
on the tape?
We-
Just because he wants you to repeat the question.
okay.
So could you repeat, like, just say something like, I believe it's important to help people whenever
Oh,
necessary.
it's very important to help people when it's necessary.
Okay. And what kind of advice would you give other people about living their lives?
My advice is to be important things in my two important things in my opinion is to keep yourself busy at all the times and not worrying about petty things.
Eric, what accomplishments are you most proud of?
Being married to Annette for 62 years and my family working for GE for 38 years.
Right, I know. Can you repeat that question and just say, the accomplishments that I'm most proud of is being married?
Okay, the accomplishments I'm most proud of is being married to Annette for 62 years and my family working at GE for 38 years.
What has made your life meaningful? And repeat the question. So,
My family and many wonderful friends. Going back to Germany in 2000, seeing a synagogue built in my hometown. Also seeing some of the people I have lost contact with who sailed it all over the world and live in Kassel, Germany. I've been fortunate to be able to travel and visit most of the U.S. and many countries, including several visits to Israel.
do you want to do that one again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
Eric, because what he's doing with this is he's going to switch from slide to slide view. He's not going to do like the whole thing. So he'll be like, he needs for you to say, what's been most meaningful in my life is being married, or
Okay.
whatever it is that's most important to you.
Yeah.
But he needs for you to lead that in, so the
Okay.
way when he switches it back and forth,
Okay.
people will be able to follow you on the video.
Okay.
So let's do that one again, about what's made your life meaningful.
Well, the most meaningful in my life is my family and my wonderful friends. Going back to Germany in year 2000 and seeing a synagogue being built in my hometown. Also seeing some of the people I have lost contact with who sailed all over the world after leaving Kassel, Germany. I've been very fortunate to be able to travel and visit much of the U.S. and many countries, including several visits to Israel.
Could you tell us what you've learned from your parents and your grandparents, and what you'd like to share with others? And tell us what you'd like to share.
let's start with the question.
The most important thing I learned was from my father, I was very fortunate to be able to come to America with my parents in 1938, 6 months prior to Kristallnacht. My father was very smart and realized that when Hitler moved the German army into the Rhineland in France, France and England would not take any action. There was no future for Jews in Germany at this time. It was time to get out.
Okay. So that's what he has here. Do you want us to just kind of do some,
Just some ad hoc right now.
That's
where
what-
he's
that's
got
what-
Anything
that's-
you can get where he doesn't have to read.
Right.
That way we can kind of incorporate it
that,
in.
okay.
Because there's so much reading, so if you just maybe
Right.
ask questions.
That's, okay. So let's put this aside, the paper, and let's just talk, okay? Because, I
Okay.
mean, just ignore the camera.
Okay.
And I'm gonna just kind of look at this and ask you questions about it, so that way we can
Okay.
kind of just go through and really put everything together. So tell us about when you were at GE, and were the computers like, that was a really new thing at the time that you were
Yeah.
there, right? So why don't
Yeah.
you tell us about that?
Start with that GE.
Right, let's start with, and just tell us about being at GE, that you were actually at GE, and what you did while you were there, and what was exciting about it.
Okay. Well, when I started working, we did all the work on drawing boards
And this was at GE.
at GE.
Okay.
And
We'll start out with at GE.
Can you do that? Can you say, at GE, we started
yeah,
working? Okay.
yeah. At GE, we were working on drawing boards. Later on, we went to computers, and I was one of the pioneers on working on a computer.
I imagine they were very large too, weren't they? And then what did you guys do with what you had from the computer? Were you designing the engines, or what did you do with the computer designs?
I did preliminary design on a computer,
Okay.
and I was sort of a pioneer, pioneer in doing that.
Okay. Okay. And then tell us, what is it that you do at Cedar Village? Because I know you've been a volunteer here for a long time. So could you just start it out with at Cedar Village I, and just tell us what you do?
Okay. I started at Cedar Village around in 1997, and I've been working in the medical records department, doing filing in every week.
Okay. And you also work on the golf outing too, right?
Yeah, I've been working on the golf outing ever since it started as a whole observer.
So, have you ever seen anyone make a hole-in-one?
No, nobody ever had a hole in one. In fact, most of the time they didn't even hit the green.
They're over in the water or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's see, but you volunteered for other golf tournaments too, right?
Yeah,
Where else have you volunteered working with golf or whatever else?
I started volunteering at the golf outings and the golf tournaments for women, and later on the senior golf tournament at Kings Island. That was my first volunteering job.
I bet that was an experience.
Mhm.
How many women golfers were there?
What's it?
I said, how many women were there a lot of women golfers?
Well, it was the professional women golfers.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So it's still a small group then. All right. And tell us, do you want him to go through the community stuff a little bit
Yeah, and
too?
then tell a little bit about his family too, just get to talk about his wife and his
Okay.
children, and
Okay.
maybe where he married or where he met, or just that way he can
Okay.
start talking.
Okay. Would you tell us, because we kind of went real quickly over your family, and family is what it's all about. So why don't you tell us who your wife is, and where you guys got married, and those
Okay.
early years, and then the
Okay.
kids.
I got married in 1949 to Annette, and we have 3 children, 2 boys, 1 daughter, 2 sons.
So did you guys live here? You were in the service though, right, when you first got married? Or you
No, I was out of there. Oh yeah, I got out of the service in 1945,
Oh, okay.
and then I got married in 49.
So did you meet Annette here? How did you meet her?
Oh yeah, I originally met her at a picnic when I was in ACA, which is the junior order of Benevolence, and but when I found out she was I was at that time about I was 19, and she was only 13.
Oh, wow. So you had to wait for her to grow up then.
So later on I met her at somebody's wedding, and I started dating her.
So how long did you guys date?
Uh,
How long did you all date? Did you date for a long time, or?
About a little over a year.
And then did you have like an apartment here, or?
Well, we when we first got married, her parents lived on Mitchell Avenue, and they had used to have made was a what they call it, a two-family house, but they had maids' quarters up on the third floor, so we took over one of the rooms up on the third floor for a while.
How long did you guys live there?
But a little over a year, and then, see, it was hard to find apartments at that time, and then her sister lived on Golson Avenue, and they bought a house, so we got their apartment
Oh, well, that's good.
in Avondale on Golson Avenue.
And a little bit about his military, about,
Okay.
when he entered the
So you have
military.
enough on family?
I think so.
Okay.
We'll get that.
So tell us more about being in the military. You didn't have to go overseas, so I know that was,
Well, not right away, because they,
but started out with
Yeah.
in the military or
See,
whatever.
see, when I went in the Army, I went down to Fort Knox for basic training, and the people that I finished basic training with went in these tank battalions that went in the South Pacific, and they were usually they were wiped out. So it actually saved my life. So I spent 2 years up at Fort Benjamin Harrison. I used to come home every weekend, practically, and but finally I got cleared. But because it took the Army 2 years. Normally in civilian life it took only about a couple weeks, to get cleared. And but once I got cleared, they sent me over to England, and I was supposed to go into military government, but then I ended up in the Signal Corps, and I had delivered mail. In fact, I was the first one to go to Paris, and because they set up Eisenhower's headquarters, and we had to deliver the mail there. So I was a pioneer in that.
Okay. What else would you like to have him hit on?
So you want to talk more about community service now? A little bit.
All right, let's talk a little bit more about community service, and because you were talking about that, what is so important to you about community service? How did you really start? I know you started out, with the Army, but what was that first experience that you had serving others outside the military? Or serving just the community?
Okay, I started out at Kings Islands for the golf outing, the women's golf outing, and then later on the senior, Kroger senior tournament.
So did you like golf really well? Is that why you started with helping with the
Yeah,
golf outing?
well, yeah, I was playing golf. Those days I used to play golf twice a week. I was in a GE league, and I was on Sundays. I had several friends I used to play with every Sunday.
So they just asked you one day if you wanted to be part of this golf outing, and you're like, absolutely, or?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I was already working here when they had the golf outing.
okay.
But talk about his daily regimen about working out. That was interesting. He works out 3 days a week. Just kind of
I know you were wearing me out with that, how much you work out. I need to come work out with you sometime. Would you
Okay.
would you tell us about how you started how long you've worked out, what you like
Well,
to do?
I used to belong to the Jewish Center, and when they eliminated the health club there, when they closed down the old Jewish Center, I had to look around for another place to do my exercises. So I went to Dreihalf, and it's close to my house, where close where I live. So it's only about 5 minutes away. So it's very convenient, and I didn't go back to the Jewish Center.
So when you work out, what do you do?
I usually walk about 2 miles, and then I work out on these weight machines.
So have you done that all your life, or is it something that you started after you retired?
No, I started that after I retired. I never did too much exercise. My work kept me busy to keep doing that kind of stuff. I just had enough time to play golf.
And you've always had time to play golf, right?
Yeah.
What?
Maybe his accomplishments or something, just let him just talk about any accomplishments and that.
Okay. How about your accomplishments, the things that you are most proud of, like professional or volunteering?
Okay. Well, I didn't mention before, but I got several awards at GE for outstanding work, and and I don't know what else.
What kind of awards did you get?
Oh, just an award, just a little thing to put on the desk,
Was it like because I know you said that you were one of the pioneers with the computer design.
Yeah.
So was it related, were your awards related to that, or
No,
was
it
it
was just in general work.
Okay. Anything else that you can think of that you want?
Actually, I thought that was really interesting to talk about his father when they leave Germany.
Oh, okay.
He was reading that because he didn't really talk to his. I thought that's really interesting how he came to the United States. His father was smart, decided to
Okay.
just kind of get his version rather than reading it.
At the very beginning of our taping, you were talking about your family before you left Germany and how they decided, how your
Yeah.
dad decided to come. Would you share that story with us again
Okay.
about leaving?
All right. The point was, my 2 brothers had left Germany already, and since I was the youngest, they wouldn't let me go. So, but my father had 4 sisters that lived in New York, and so he decided that it's time to get out of Germany, because Hitler took over the Rhineland, and neither England or France would do anything about it. So he figured it's time to come to America. And my mother's oldest brother lived in Blanchester, Ohio, and he sent the papers for us. So, and I'll tell you another story I didn't put in there, but he belonged to the Masons, and he joined the Scottish Rite in Cincinnati. And I checked that out on the records later on. But he went to a meeting right after he sent the papers for us, and Alvin Barkley at that time was the key speaker there. And he met Alvin Barkley, and he mentioned to him that he sent papers for his sister and brother-in-law. So at that time, people had to wait for months to get called to the American consulate. And we got our papers, and right away we got called to the American consulate. So we found out that, I mentioned that Alvin Barkley must have called the State Department, and they moved our papers from the bottom to the top.
I like
That is a good story. That is a good story. Is there anything, Eric, is there anything else that you'd like to tell us or share with us?
Maybe
I don't know.
his life here at Cedar
I got a lot of stories to tell.
Well, why don't you tell us a couple more stories that you'd like to tell us? Something about a story about Cedar Village, or just a story from when you were younger. Just share a couple stories with us.
I don't know. I don't know of any good ones right now.
I'm sorry, what?
I say I don't know any good ones right now. No, I've been enjoying working at Cedar Village, it's really, and my wife spent about a month here last year. She broke her leg and she was upstairs. But they recommend, the hospital, when they operated, recommended Cedar Village for Rick.
And so she did the rehab program.
Yeah.
How long was she involved in that, with the rehab? How long did it take?
Well, she still needs rehab.
But, I mean,
Yeah,
did she actually stay at Cedar
no,
Village?
but about a month or so.
So did you find the people to be real helpful
Yeah.
while you were here?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of a family environment?
I'm just gonna talk Cedar Village has been, just maybe say that would be really nice.
Could you say, while she was here, Cedar Village, while she was here at Cedar Village, explain, like that it felt like family, or that you felt like she was well cared for?
Yeah,
Would you mind to?
Okay. When she was here, she was very well cared for. In fact, I used to join her on Friday nights for Friday night dinner.
Okay,
All right.
pretty good.
All right. He says we're done. You did a
Okay.
great job.
Oh.
Thank you. I know.